Hey guys, it's Vanessa here. So I'm gonna start off by giving you guys one of my favorite words, ameliorate. And for those of you who don't know what that means, it means to turn something bad into something better, or as I like to say, as something ugly into something beautiful. So when I start off by telling you guys that I'm 22 years old, it doesn't feel like it because I grew up pretty sheltered, and that's because of the childhood that I had, my early childhood. So it kind of affected how I grew up later on, and also affected how I reacted to things in the future. So to begin with, as a child's little baby, before I was even like 5 years old, I grew up completely different and separate than I did after that. I grew up in a very toxic environment with my parents and family coming in and out, trying to control everyone's life. And at one point, my parents decided to take me and my sister away and just take us to a completely different place where nobody can bother us. And since that point, it had been just me and my sisters and my parents. And to give you guys a little quote or a little bit of background on what I'm going to talk about next, the National Alliance of Mental Illness states that mental health by the numbers published on September 2018, 1 in 6 U.S. youth aged 6 to 17 experience a mental health disorder each year. And I think it's very common to think that kids that young don't really suffer from stuff like that. So to move on further, I did deal with a couple issues later on due to the fact that I had a rough beginning, but I didn't really realize that I tried to shut it all out and I tried to make it seem like everything was perfect, because from the moment that my parents took us away from our whole family, it turned different, and they dedicated themselves to us and made sure that the rest of our childhood, so like from 5 years old and on, it would be completely different, which made them a little more overprotective, and why I grew up a little more sheltered, because they just wanted to make it perfect and make it seem like nothing happened before. And I tried to think that to myself as well, until I started realizing that by the time I hit like my early teens, all the way to like getting out of high school, all the way till now, I wasn't doing so good. And I would have episodes where I would just break down. I would want to quit school, and I did at one point, and just wanted to do homeschool just randomly out of nowhere. Did homeschool for one day and came back the next day because I just couldn't do it. And all these different things started happening that I did not understand, because I did not grow up necessarily being taught things like bullying, depression, eating disorders, and all that. So I had no idea what was going on. After seeing a therapist, I did get diagnosed with anxiety, later on OCD, depression, and along with a lot of other things. But it took me a bunch of years to finally get to a place where I can work on things and fix them. And it took a lot of therapists, a lot of years, a lot of trying different things, until I finally got to this point about a year and a half ago, when I actually discovered that I was just shutting out a lot of things from my past, and that was not going to help me in any way. So OCD was one of the breaking points where I kind of realized I had to get help and I had to find some way to cope, because OCD had become something that was really interfering with my daily life. And according to an article by Owen Kelly, PhD, What is Obsessive Compulsive Disorder, published on June 28, 2020, obsessive compulsive disorder is a mental health condition characterized by obsession and compulsions that interfere with daily life. And that was exactly what was going on. In that time, I had no idea until a while later I got diagnosed and I realized that's what I had. I thought I was just going insane. But basically, for me, it took so many years to get to where I am right now, and in no way am I 100% better or 100% good, and it's still a struggle, because once you have something like anxiety, depression, bipolar, or anything like that. It's an ongoing struggle, and it's not going to go away from day to night. But I used to hate thinking about it. I used to think I was crazy, and I used to not acknowledge that this was okay and it was okay to live with it. So, seeing myself in the future, I want to be able to get a little better and also work with myself and other platforms to kind of spread this word, because not everybody knows, not everybody understands that mental health is something serious and something that should be taken care of, because people put so much effort on taking care of your physical health that we forget about our mental health. So I really, really want to find a platform where I can actually work towards bringing that awareness, because I mean, if you're not educated, if you don't know, you're obviously not going to act upon it. So that's really what I want to see myself doing in the future, and I think that's going to be a happy place when I'm 100% okay and good with myself, and then I'll be able to help someone else. Which brings me back to my favorite word, ameliorate, turning something ugly into something beautiful. Thank you.